David with No Chaser, and today's episode I'm going to talk about a concept that I found to be incredibly helpful to me. All right, you can already see I'm a little bit jazzed up about it, but it requires an analogy that. All right, just I'll start with it. So, one thing for me, and this is not just about even addiction or drinking, or this is about like mental health in general. One thing that I've always struggled with is that regardless of how my life's going, regardless of like how inspired I've been or anything like that, I get into these moods that just completely change up my whole mindset, my state of mind, where I could be such on a good path of doing well and believing in the fruitful nature of life, and then just in some afternoon or a day or even a week, that all changes. The dark clouds come over and I get in this like cynical, pessimistic, negative form of nihilism, and I just everything's pointless and stupid and I don't care. And that has always been such a struggle for me because it completely will derail me. And because of my predilection to alcoholism and all that good stuff, when I fall into that and I drink, it sets me way back. And the cycle begins and it begins again. So today I want to talk about the idea of how mantras have helped me. And I know you may be thinking like mantras, man, Buddha and stuff. I don't know why I keep joking about that. Buddhism is like one of the philosophies I like the most. But anyways, uh, so and you may also think if you've watched a lot of my videos that I normally kind of harp against like just using platitudes to like kind of be advice or fix problems or just stuff like this. This is honestly way different. I had worked with a counselor and I had talked about how like, I feel fine at the moment, but then I just fall into these states of depression and just this like complete mindset of like hopelessness or apathy. And it completely, like I said, derails me. It destroys like everything that I may have been working for, or it just sinks me into this hole that I feel I can't get out of. And I can't like sit through it. I can't just like ride out that storm. So we talked about an idea of having truths that I can use as mantras. Now, a lot of people do this type of stuff already. They'll tell themselves things like everything happens for a reason or God has a plan. I mean, you see a lot of them like in Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous too, this too shall pass or first thought wrong. I don't know how much I like that one. But like you hear these things that people kind of will repeat to themselves, serenity prayer, all that type of stuff. This is different in the fact because when I had talked with them, we'd spoken about how what I needed was not just like an idea or a saying or a phrase or even what is perceived to be a truth that is beneficial to me, but I needed one that I actually believed in, that I believed was true. And that was a little bit difficult for me because just in my kind of disposition, I don't really believe everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that like everything will work out, even though I know having that mindset is the best way to be. Even if it doesn't work out, believing that is really helpful. But I just in those times where the dark clouds come, I can't grasp or I can grasp it. I just can't fully buy in and have faith in that mindset. So what we talked about was creating truths that I actually believe and I will believe no matter what. So one of them is the mantra of everything is temporary. And you might think, well, isn't that the same as this too shall pass? I don't know why the phraseology works better in my mind, but everything is temporary too. I totally believe in, and that is not always just a nice, beneficial, good thing to think of because that goes for good times or good feelings as well too. Those will fade. It's all fleeting. I can believe that when I'm stuck in these phases of deep depression, I don't think it will ever end. I can think that through. But I have more than just that as mantras. Another one I have is that I tell myself drinking is not helpful. Again, that may seem like simple, but in my mind, the way I apply it is when I had even a craving, a strong one recently, is that my mind will start going, well, that's bullshit. Drinking is helpful because it brings me relief, and I know it brings me relief. I know this to be true. But if I go back to it and analyze that mantra, it's like, but it is not helpful. It will never be helpful to your well-being. I can concede it brings relief. I can do that, but it will never be helpful. Another really like, and this is one of the more important ones, is a mantra that I have is that thinking does not make you feel better. Only actions and experience. And that, like, that one, again, regardless of the mood I'm in, I know that to be true. I have tried all my life to think myself into feeling better, and like using like cognitive behavioral skills, like in those types of thought processes can help me kind of like cope or to combat negative thoughts, but it doesn't change my mood. I've tried all my life and way too much thinking, and despite the horsepower of my crazy mind, I cannot think myself into a better mood. Only partaking in actions and experiences will change that. And regardless of how I'm feeling, how depressed I am, how cynical I'm being, how pessimistic I feel about life, I know that to be true. And that's something, just the way my brain is, and I'm definitely not saying this is for everybody, but just the way my mind is, I know that if something, regardless of how I feel, my mood, if it's still true, I can hold on to that. All right, so here's the analogy. And again, I don't like using any sort of pop culture or stuff like that because it may not reach everybody. And I want it to, but I use this one because it honestly so beautifully illustrates kind of the point I'm making about these mantras. So there's a movie called Inception in like 2008 or something, directed by Christopher Nolan, who did like the Dark Knight series and Interstellar. Interstellar, one of my favorite movies. It has Leonardo DiCaprio and a bunch of other famous people. Blah blah blah. It is, even if you haven't seen it, just run with me on this. I'll just give you the basics and not any other extra fluff. In the movie is basically about these people who are like dream hackers. Like they can go into people's dreams and steal information. Or Inception, one that's like planting an idea in their dream. There's lots of gunfights. There's a lot of gunfights in dreams for some reason. But it's an action movie and stuff like that. And basically, it's these people that are just have the ability to go into the dreams of other people. To go into a dream world. And the thing I like, the movie's all right to me, but I like action. But the thing I really liked about the movie is actually it has deep layers of concepts that are interesting, like about perception and the nature of reality. So, anyways, these like dream hackers, these people, they have a thing that's called a totem, and this is what I'm comparing to the mantras. So, when they're in the dream hackers, when they're in these dreams, everything appears just as like real life. I mean, even if goofy stuff happens, it's on the dream logic that it makes sense. So they normally have something that will kick them out of the dream. But sometimes if it doesn't work, they can be stuck in dreams for decades. They can live whole lives, and eventually it blends into where they won't be able to tell what reality is. So they have a thing called a totem, and a totem it's an object that each one of them has that is personalized, that only they know how it feels, what it's like, and like what it does is the main one, Leonardo DiCaprio, he has one that is a top, just like a little spinny top, and when he spins it, no matter what, if it is reality, it will fall over. If it's in the dream world, it will just spin and it will never fall down. So regardless of everything that's happening around him, regardless of how much he believes it to be, how many years he's been in this dream or this lifetime or whatever it is, even if everything is just like totally convincing, compelling that this is the real world, he always has this little top that he can spin, and by the nature of it, if it falls or doesn't, it will tell him no matter what reality is. Kind of as a visual representation might make it easier. It looks a little bit like this.
Okay.
I don't know why I pointed that way. It's on the screen. Anyways, but you kind of see the point where this is like the ending of the movie was like very ambiguous if it was a dream or not, bro. But I love that idea of having a totem in your life, and that's where it comes down to these mantras. That my mind changes so much that I mean, you saying that the nature of reality changes may seem. I'm not talking about like in a super drastic way, like I don't know what's real or not, but in a way, in my mood or on my outlook of life, I don't, because I get when a wave of depression hits me, or just been in a depressive state. I I don't believe a lot of times that life is worth living, or I think that all these like actions or things I'm taking place, or all the dreams I have are actually pointless. And I, again, it is a different sort of reality that I live in. Just kind of one that's like mood and mindset based. I I, I believe that in terms of like addictive thinking, I'll start to believe that like All I have, my brain is broken. I'm never going to be normal. All I have for even temporary relief, for just a brief reprieve, all I have is drinking. And you know what? I'm just going to go out like a person on hospice and just pump me with morphine and just try not to cuss. Screw this life. Screw this life, screw everything. I'll get into an apathy where I just don't feel anything anymore. You know, depression, a big thing about it is not just being like sad, but it's just not feeling alive. It's not feeling connected to anything. It's just this complete despondency. And I will start to believe, I'm like, yes, this is what life is. It's all pointless and stupid. And you follow that chain and it leads to destructive behaviors, you know, not even just drinking, but complete isolation, just being like unkempt physically, mentally, spiritually, all that type of stuff. And it just follows like a dark hole for me. And the thing is that when I have these sort of these mantras I've been like working on and using in my mind when I get in these states, I tell myself that, all right, you don't feel you feel like terrible, and this won't pass, but this is all sort of temporary. It doesn't feel like it right now, but you just have this present moment and you're experiencing it, but it will pass away. You know, I think about like drinking. I was like, this will the only thing that'll bring me something good, no matter how temporary. But I just tell myself, it never helps you. It will never make anything better. Like you may think that you don't even care about making your life better, right? Like who I don't care about life, so why does it matter if it helps me or not? But what it comes down to in my mind is that, do I want to die? Like do I want to die right now at this moment? No, I want to continue like living. Even if I get close to suicidal, which if that occurs, you need like I need for sure, and I would suggest for anybody else to really reach out to somebody and get some sort of intervention. But even if I get on that quasi sort of like suicidal mindset of like I just don't care about life anymore, I still am living and I want to live, and I need help to make my life better if I'm going to continue doing this. And drinking will never do that. It will never, ever, ever, ever help. That is a truth that, regardless of how I'm feeling, I know I can believe in. Everything is temporary. I know I can believe in that. Regardless of my mood, it is something like the totem. That is a reality I can hold on to, regardless of what my mental state is and what it's telling me. I can hold on to that reality. The fact that only actions and experiences make me feel better. You know, I can be in this depressed state where like I don't want to do anything. I don't have the energy. I'm just too tired. I don't care. It's like in my core though, no matter what, I always want to feel better. You know, I don't want to just like sit in crap. I may be too tired to feel like I can do anything about it. But I can tell myself, and I'm not saying this is an instant cure where it just shoots me right up and I'm ready to go and exercise or do something great. But I can tell myself, okay, regardless of what you feel about life, regardless of what you're feeling and your view of everything, you know it to be true. I know it to be true that only actions and experiences will make me feel better. You know what? It's up to you if you want to feel better. Of course, I always do, but it's up to you. But that I know to be true. No matter how like pointless and stupid I think everything is, I know that just thinking, I know that just staying in this does not help. And like, you know, these things can just seem like, well, you're just saying like super obvious things. And you know, they are, but they feel personalized to me. That's what I had worked on, and they just truly feel something where I just use them as that totem, that thing where regardless of what my reality is becoming in my head, you know, how much I think I don't care, or maybe I just truly believe, no, I don't care anymore, or I'm too tired, or I can't do this. That's another one. I just like have this mind of where I can't do this anymore, man. I can always go back to that. Okay, you feel that way, but remember these things, and no matter what, you know they are true. It's like the little spinning top thing where I go, it it falls down, and I know that's the truth. This totem is something I can hold on to. I know that is true. And I try to incorporate these mantras whenever I'm in those places where, you know, the moods will stay and the turmoil will still be there, but it's easier to get through it or to try to do something about it if I have some truth behind me where I know this is a path that I can believe in, whether I want to do it or not. So that's my little spiel about, you know, I don't know, trying to incorporate. And the big thing about this is it's about like a personalized version of this. You know, like I said, I don't necessarily believe everything happens for a reason, But some people truly do. And yes, hold on to that. Use that as a truth that will help you get out of whatever you're going through. Again, just those kind of things to hold on to. With that being said, time for all the self promotion stuff I hate. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Try to share this with people, or just tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what you like, your maybe a mantra or things that you have, that you just hold steadfast to, that helps you get you through anything. Again, this is not just about drinking or addiction or anything. This I use this in regards to just mental health and mental well being. But other than that, be well.